Mark, how's it going?
Amazing. Thank you. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic. So I know that we just had a conversation here before we jumped on live about how the day went. So I was out playing golf, got a little bit of a. I got to work on this tan here a little bit, so that way it's not so shiny up top.
Sounds like a beautiful day. It's very cold here in Melbourne, Australia right now.
Oh, wow, really? Yeah, it was about 90 degrees here. So I'm in Virginia, and it was about 90 degrees. It was funny. We jumped in the truck, and my son goes, "Is it really 100 degrees outside?" I'm like, "No, that's the thermometer on my truck." But no, we went out, we whacked some golf balls today, and trying to teach my son how to play golf. So it was a great day.
Sounds awesome. Sounds great.
Yeah, so I know family time is important for you and everything. How's everything going with your family?
Yeah, it's been good. Well, I'm here in Australia. I'm originally from the UK, so a lot of my family are in the UK, which actually is quite difficult right now during COVID. I can't get over there to see them. I haven't been able to see them for 18 months. So I'm hoping that the borders will open up soon.
Yeah.
Apart from that, my partner, family here in Melbourne, so we went out to explore Melbourne this weekend with three children, two girls and a boy, and we just got out there and just kind of explored the world, which is pretty fun. We went to some art galleries and Melbourne's a beautiful place, so it's good to get out there and hang out with them away from screen time and consoles and all that tech they get lost in today.
Oh yeah, Australia is one of the places that's on my bucket list of places to go to. I definitely want to get out there. So I got a background in the military, so I was in the military for 24 years, and I had a great opportunity to work with the Australian Army. So being able to work with those guys, I'm telling you, man, that, it's kind of funny what I'm about to say here, but some of those guys are hard as woodpecker lips. I can tell you that. But no, it was good times, great memories. So working with some of the Australian Army there, it was absolutely amazing. It's definitely some of the most memorable times that I'll never forget. So, all right. So appreciate you sharing that. I know family time is really important. So let's go ahead and dive right on in. I'm gonna go ahead and get everything started, and we'll go ahead and get into the questions. All right, so welcome to the Bottom Line Up Front, the show where we get to the bottom line of the most important issues around business and life. Today's guest is Mark Bowness. He is a 2 Comma Club Award winner, chief tribe builder, and leader of the We Build Tribes Facebook group with over 35,000 members. He is also the host of the We Build Tribes podcast, and he has an unstoppable dream to help 100,000 coaches, consultants, experts, thought leaders, and online business owners just like you to build purpose-driven communities of 10,000 people so that together you can impact 1 billion lives. Welcome, Mark Bowness.
Whoa, great intro. Thank you. Awesome to be here.
Yeah, I greatly appreciate it. Mark, brother, I have followed you for at least a couple of years now. And I remember when you first started out on Facebook and everything and watching you, man, you bring the energy, and I love it. Bringing the energy is important within a tribe.
Absolutely. You've got to, you've got to invigorate and inspire and motivate, and that's going to come from the heart. So absolutely, every single day. I just did a live right now in my group, 9 a.m. Monday morning, go live, set the energy, set the tone for the week. Let's do this.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's awesome because Evan Carmichael is one of my mentors, and I get to hang out with him every week. And he always talks about taking that energy when you serve others, when you build others up, when you hang around great people, okay, that gives you energy. Now you can take that energy and go serve others as well too. So when you're serving others, when you're leading your tribe, how does that give you energy to where you can go serve others better?
Yeah, look, I love building communities, and we live in this online world, and we can negate or forget the fact that the online world, it's still human beings interacting, it's still human to human connection. And every time I hang out with my audience and learn about the tribes that they're building, the communities that they're building, that motivates me. So for example, one of my clients, beautiful lady Naomi, she has a tribe that helps parents with children on the autism spectrum. Mm-hmm. It's now about 17,000 people, and it's an incredible community where all these amazing parents from around the world go because they've not got somewhere else to go to. So, right. They're in there, they're going live crying, because of the situations they're in and whatever's happened today. They're getting support. So it's real, utilizing the online world in order to depth of relationship is what motivates me to then want to reach out and help more people to build their audiences.
Right. And I think that's one of the things that's important because in the last year, due to lockdown, due to COVID and everything, the one thing that's been lacking is that human engagement, that human interaction, because we've all had to kind of distance ourselves a little bit. And it kind of closed a lot of doors, but it also opened a lot of doors as well, too. And people that were resourceful with that, once again, they thrived. Like you and I, we're in that digital space, and I thrived. I built new connections. I was introduced to a lot of new people over the last year simply because more people were online. They were looking for those things online.
Yeah.
And I think it's amazing. We live in great times right now.
We do. And again, again, it's just remembering or reminding ourselves that the tech that exists serves to build those relationships. So there's been an increase in people using Zoom. There's been an increase in lives and webinars, and events. But the whole purpose, I think we've really found this beautiful place of, during COVID, how do we use technology to foster deeper relationships, as opposed to seeing technology as a hindrance that we kind of used to see, or the emails are full, or there's notifications everywhere. It's utilizing it in a lot deeper way, I think, which is great.
Yeah, I do too. So I've been in the IT field for over 20, at least 25, 26 years. And I remember years ago when I was just starting to dabble with it and everything, I was thankful that I was introduced to computers at an early age. And over time, I just got better at it and better at it. You increase those knowledge, those skills, and then you go out and you teach that to other people. And I know that that's an important part of building a business, building relationships, using that tech to your advantage, using all that stuff to your advantage. All right. So I know that, building a business is important. And if you want to build a business, basically the bottom line up front is that you must build a tribe. You must build a tribe. And I know that you're one of the greats at doing that right there. You've built a tribe of over 30,000, 35,000 people. So tell me, how do you build a tribe?
Well, the most important thing with regards to building a tribe is the messaging. Like, what is the message? What is the vision? So there are 8 tribe building principles that we have. I won't go into them into detail, but the first one is an unstoppable dream. And like you mentioned at the beginning, my unstoppable dream is to help people to build tribes that impact 1 billion lives. The truth is that people want to be a part of something bigger than themselves. And I often say that the secret to leading a tribe is easy. Be consumed with a vision for tomorrow in your niche. Go there in your own life and people will follow. So a tribe isn't about how many likes I can get on my page. It's not about, how many people in my group. It's about the vision and journey that you're taking people on, so that we're changing and transforming our lives, but together as part of that wider community.
Yeah, I definitely see the point within that. And, you really have to share that knowledge and share that experience. And I love the way that you said that right there, because leadership is important. I strongly believe is leadership important. If you want to lead others, you must first lead yourself. And the only way to do that is to take action. Dive in there, figure out what those problems are, and then share that knowledge, share that experience, share that information with others. The thing that I've learned is that nobody can take away my experiences. Nobody can take away your experiences. And I think that that's really important. Tell me a little bit about experiences. How important is it to build those experiences, and then more importantly, share those experiences?
Well, experience is everything, I believe that in the same way that we each have, a unique fingerprint, that we each have a unique purpose. And that purpose is based upon the unique experience that we have. Nobody else has my purpose. Nobody else will exist to do what I'm here to do on planet Earth. And so we often, certainly as entrepreneurs, we have this mindset of success or failure. And we're saying that there's no such thing as failure, only feedback, but it's true. Like, the growth that I've seen in my business is because I've failed, I've learned, I've grown, I've made mistakes, I've invested in the wrong things. Every single thing has been a learning step that builds my wealth of experience, that helps my clients as I share that truth and that experience to get results. So I think Experience is absolutely everything. And also, it's easy for us to think, well, why would people come to me when they can go to Tony Robbins, or they can go to, whoever it is in my space that's better and bigger than me, but they don't have your experience. And
Right.
I truly believe that in a world of a population of nearly 8 billion people, that 10,000 people woke up this morning needing what you have, the way that you bring it to the world.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. And the thing is that those engagements those engagements are important. When you build those engagements, you build that bridge between what it is that somebody wants and what it is that you have to offer through your experiences, because you've been down that path, you've been down that road, and you know the struggles and you know the answer. And the thing is that a lot of people, they don't know that answer. They need that help. And I think that that's where, people like you and I come into play, is that we deliver that answer, that feedback that they need to take action.
That's right. And that comes from our own experience, right? So we're literally applying our daily knowledge and wisdom throughout the many years of the trials and triumphs that we've faced in our lives. Like, my business has grown because I'm focused on taking my experience and sharing it with people at that deeper level, and that wealth of experience that gets results for my clients too.
Yeah. And the thing is that a lot of people, the first and foremost, they have to believe. I think that once you believe, you can achieve. And that's where mindset comes into play. So mindset is definitely important. I think that mindset is the most important thing when it comes to taking any type of action, because what begins right there goes everywhere else. But it must start right there within the mind. Okay, and it is very important. You must lead yourself, like I said earlier, before you can lead others. So how do you maintain that razor sharp focus so that you can achieve your bottom line up front?
Look, there's two sides to that. One is, of course, I get out there and just listen to as much knowledge and wisdom I can. I read books, I listen to podcasts, so that I can have the external growth of knowledge through learning from other people. But I think as equally important to that is the trust and belief that I have in myself. If we go back to purpose, if we go back to why I'm here, if we go back to what is the legacy that I would love to live, lead, and lead here on planet Earth, I have to be so 100% committed to my own success, because otherwise there's doubters that, there's voices of others. As you grow in the industry, as you grow online, then I had a Facebook ad recently, and somebody said, commented on the Facebook ad, and they said, why don't you cross over the road, get hit by a car and die, you bald-headed beep? And it's like, if you don't stay on top of your own mental game, then, and trust and believe in yourself, then start to doubt yourself, and that slows down the growth of your business. When I first started my business, I was struggling to sell my services at $100 an hour, my coaching services, and I felt bad because I wasn't contributing to my family financially. There was voices in my own mind. Why am I doing this? When other people were saying to me, why are you building a business? Why don't you just go and get a corporate job? And so whenever there was a negative experience, a sales call that didn't work out, or I launched a webinar and nobody turned up, those doubts of others came in. And the only way that I could be successful was to commit myself to my own success. And that was having 100% certainty and belief in who I am and what I'm here to do.
It's funny that you say that, because I can only have business conversations with like-minded people, with people that are kind of business-oriented, business-minded. When it comes to friends and family, I don't really talk very much business about that, to them. So it's every time I try to, it's like, here's business. I do that with my kids because I'm trying to teach them the importance of business, and I want them to eventually do something for themselves as well, too. And there's negativity everywhere. There really is. There's negativity everywhere that you look. And even though I do pay attention to it, what you focus on gets results. And if you focus on that negativity, then that's going to be a driving factor, and it's going to bring you down. Okay, so I see a lot of people engaging in that. How do you avoid that?
How do you avoid negativity?
How do you avoid engaging in that negativity? Because it seems, when it's there, you want to be like, man, I just want to squash that, but how do you really avoid that?
Again, it depends where that negativity comes from. I limit my time on social media. I have a system in place whereby it appears like I'm online giving value all the time, but I'm not. I have a around me repurposing content, all that kind of stuff. So I try to limit my time on social media because, as we know, the keyboard warriors that will say whatever they like. When people around me, again, like you say, well, I choose who is and isn't in my life. You know, we are the sum of the people that we hang around. You know, and so I choose to be in the environment and space of people that will lift me up, not pull me down. However, as you say, there's family. And sometimes family, you know, don't get what it is that we're doing. And so again, it's staying strong in your own belief. Like it's funny because now the doubt that I used to have around me, well, now that I've built a multiple 7-figure business, now they're coming to me for advice on how to quit their job, how to start a business. So when you just focus, get rid of the voice and the doubts. Look, you can shut it off as much as you want or can, but there's always going to be something. And so again, it's about your inner game and what do I believe that I'm here to do, and just that laser sharp focus on your vision.
Yeah, you know, it's been said that if you want to be great, then you surround yourself with greater people. And I know myself, I've been fortunate enough to be around some absolutely great people. And who's some of the greatest people that you've been fortunate enough to be mentored by or to be around?
So a couple of mentors that stand out. One is a guy called Alex Mandoshan from the US, really solid guy. He's been in this world a long time. I'm currently being mentored by a guy called Shakir Hussain. Shakir's generated $30 million in sales before the age of.
Yeah, I'm familiar with Shakir. The other one I'm not quite sure, but I've heard of Shakir.
Yeah, so again, just you know, whenever I work with him at a one-to-one level, and just the knowledge, I love it. It's a breath of fresh air, just knowledge and wisdom and insight that one piece of information that just helps me to like catapult my business forward when it would have taken me years to figure that out myself.
Yeah, and that's all it takes sometimes is just that one thing, that little outside perspective to really help you make
Yeah.
that mind shift and that take that little action. So I always love getting, you know, outside perspective. So some of my great mentors, Evan Carmichael, David Meltzer, you know, I've got a lot of guys that I'm a part of inner circles. So I'm a part of a lot of inner circles. Tuesday, for a matter of fact, I get to participate with one of your students, Anthony Trucks. So Tuesday, I'm going to be a part of one of his live stream, or well, one of his Zoom calls, and he's going to be talking about, I love Anthony Trucks. So when you was mentoring Anthony Trucks, you know, it's amazing how you can see a student become a master. So what does that feel like for you whenever you can see someone like Anthony Trucks becoming a master?
I love it. You know, again, my goal is always that my clients achieve far greater than I've achieved in my life. You know, my first business, I leased a 200-acre island in Fiji and invited people from all over the world to come to the island. It became a TV show in 3 countries, 200 media outlets, set me on this real path for success. But my goal is always, how do I help my clients be more successful than I've ever been? Because ultimately, it's about, especially in my world, it's about building communities that change and transform people's lives. And so it's an honor, it's a privilege to see what Anthony Trucks is doing now. When I look back about how we had the conversations about formulating his concept around shift and make shift happen, and his we were working through the methodology and his formulas around it, and now to see where it's at now is just a whole other level. So it's an honor and a privilege to be a part of somebody's journey in that way.
Yeah, I'm telling you, he is absolutely amazing. So being able to see the way he communicates, the way he talks, the way he really makes that shift happen, because he really does, and he's very effective at doing that right there. And I know you've had a hand in that as well too. So I know myself, I always try to take a little bit of something from each and every one of my mentors. You know, Evan Carmichael, for example, he's really taught me a lot of stuff. And once, you know, having that knowledge without taking action is really kind of the worst thing that you can do. So when you see someone taking action, that makes you proud. You know,
Absolutely.
it really makes you stand just a little bit taller. And I love it when my students take that action. So here's the thing. It's been said that if you want better answers, ask better questions. So when you're leading your tribe, when you're leading people, you know, when you're leading someone that, you know, may be better than you, maybe, you know, at not a different level or whatever the case, you know, everybody's at a different level. So how do you get to the bottom line of up front of what people really want? Because I believe questions are powerful. How do you ask the right question?
It's interesting. I think asking questions is important. And again, as you say, asking better questions results in better answers. But
Mhm.
one step further than that, I think being more vulnerable leads to
Mhm.
better answers. And so I'm not big on asking questions. I'm big on being vulnerable. You know, I talk
Mhm.
in my journey of experience how I I was married and got divorced. I attempted to take my own life. 6 months later, I created a TV show that was featured in 3 different countries. And so I'm big on creating space so that people come back to me and I talk about my journey in bullying and I'm a gay man and the struggles that I have around that and just being just so vulnerable in this world where online Instagram everything is perfect, the things that we see and the success of others it can beat us down, but if you create a space for vulnerability then your audience and your community will become more vulnerable with you, and that's what leads to the better questions and answers.
hmm You know, I love it that you said being vulnerable because I think that that does build a better bridge. You know what I'm saying? Because when you're able to open up, it allows others to open up as well too. And that's when you can really get to the bottom line up front of what you can really help someone with. Because I've often learned that sometimes whenever someone initially comes to you for help, for advice, whatever the case may be, that's often not the original reason. And once you're able to dig deep, once you're able to kind of discover what that underlying, problem, issue, what they really need help with,
Yeah.
that's only accomplished through building that bridge, through being vulnerable. And I love that you said that.
That's awesome. Yeah, yeah. It's just beautiful. Like again, we just feel like we have to portray ourselves as perfect, but when we can break down those walls of understanding with one another that we don't need to be perfect, then we get to the real source of what's going on, and we can help people, right?
hmm So here's one thing right here. When you're working with, whether it's a potential client, whether it is, customer, client, whatever label, what is the most challenging problem that you ever had to solve as an entrepreneur, and how did you solve that problem?
In my own business.
Yes.
Okay. Um, I think the most challenge. There's lots I could talk about. I've worked with people. I've hired the wrong people that have resulted in
Mm.
mistakes in the business. But I think if I really put it back, the biggest challenge I faced was, and let me explain this. So, being attached to the outcome, I'm a big believer in being detached from the outcome. So,
Mm.
for example, when I started my business, I was struggling with sales. Um, I had sales calls, and I was so attached to the outcome. I needed that sale because that sale would result in the money that would result in paying the mortgage or the bills or whatever. And so if I was attached to the outcome, I would be so deflated if I ran a webinar and nobody turned up, or got to the end and nobody bought. The sales process didn't work, or what. There's so many moving parts of business that, again, being attached to the outcome resulted in me slowing down, reflecting
Mm.
on the next 7 days about how I didn't get that sale and whether I'm good at business or whether I should quit. And I learned that I had to be detached from the outcome of everything in my business and focus on the end game, knowing that if I detach from the outcome, doesn't matter whether I got a sale or no sale, what I learned in that process would enable me to exponentially grow my business. And so, for example, in the matter of sales, I knew that I wasn't good at sales and I hated sales. And so, for example, at the end of sales calls, I would say, well, look, what I'll do is I'll send you an email with regards to my service. And then if you're interested, get back or don't. And of course, nobody got back. So I knew that I had to start detaching myself. And so with sales, I focused on taking as many calls as I could. And I literally, at one stage, I had weeks and weeks worth of like 40 calls, you know, over a 48-hour period, I was forgetting to spend time to eat and all that kind of stuff. I was focused on mastering the craft of sales, and that year I generated $1 million in sales from my own sales calls. And it wasn't about whether I got the sale or not. It was about I wanted to challenge myself to be good at sales.
Mm-hmm.
And I think,
and that's important right there. Being good, being able to put within your toolkit to where you know exactly which tool to use at the right moment. You know, and I see that a lot. I see a lot of mistakes of not having the right tools within the toolkit. So when you have those cold calls, when you have those warm calls, whatever the case may be, that's a different conversation. And you got to make sure that you build that toolkit. So here's a really good one right here. This is what I like to call the stadium question. So imagine this right here. You are in a stadium. You're filled with thousands of people watching, and all eyes are on you. How do you reach that person that's up in the nosebleed section, or someone who, like you said, detached, someone that's kind of far away that doesn't really feel like they're right there on stage with you? How do you reach that person so that they can take action?
Again, it comes to sharing the vulnerability of our stories, because the truth is, we do see, like, for example, let's say a stadium full of entrepreneurs. Everybody thinks they're not good enough. Everybody thinks they're trying to figure it out, but they don't know whether they're actually going to make it or not. We all, and I looked up to the successful ones, the likes of Tony Robbins, Brendan Burchard, Eckhart Tolle, all these other people that were amazing, making money. I saw the Instagram feeds of everybody with their Lamborghinis, and it was like there was this divide.
Mm-hmm.
These people are making this money. There's a divide here, and I can't be like them, and I can't be like them because I'm from a working class family from Liverpool in the UK. You know, that my education, you know, wasn't the best education in the world. You know, and so we often reflect on why we can't. But if we're honest and vulnerable, and I say, well, actually, I attempted to take my own life. I am from a working class family. I've only done this because I've worked hard through my experiences. I can then speak to every individual, because if I meet their doubt about themselves with the truth of the doubt that I had about themselves, then I can jump in and connect with them and show them the way forward. It's about reaching to people at their level where they're at with that.
That is powerful right there. And I think that's also empathy driven as well too, because once you can put yourself in their shoes, you can really lift them up and help them walk even further than they thought possible.
So true.
And I think that's amazing. And what you touched on right there is, I believe, is the future of education as well too. When you can reach out and you can grab people, you can motivate them, you can inspire them. You know, we talked about technology. We talked about, you know, inspiring others to take action. And I think that we're right here at the future of where education has happened, especially within the last year. It's changing right before our eyes. So as entrepreneurs, and I've asked this question to several entrepreneurs, and I always get a mixed bag of answers of how entrepreneurs see the future of education. So what is your opinion on the future of education, and how do you see entrepreneurs fitting into that?
That's a big question. I think traditionally education, of my model of education and my experience of education, is being taught at. So in the classroom, the teacher would teach something to us, and we had to learn it and write it down and learn it in our own minds in order to repeat it in a test that would then determine whether we were, you know, clever or not. And I think the way that the educational world is changing is more experiential.
Mm-hmm.
I'm constantly looking at not how do I create a course, but how do I create an experience? How do I create this beautiful experience that brings people together? So, for example, prior to COVID, we brought all of our clients, as many of our clients together as we possibly could in Australia, and we went to and we hired out this beautiful house in Queensland, and it had a pool, bar, a fire pit, and we literally ate together, we cooked together, we built tribes together, we were hanging out with one another, and there was an experience that we created around that. And we know that we only learn a percentage through being taught at or taught to, but what we learn through the experiential process helps us to master, to understand more, and implement further. So I believe that is key. Again, community building around those experiences to help one another, to support one another, to grow in their learning is really important too. And in terms of tech, I think I'm really interested in the way that NFTs and the future of NFTs related to education. It's a really exciting space that I'm learning in right now. That's a bit geeky, but it is important in terms of the way that we're growing in terms of our learning.
Oh, it's absolutely important. So I haven't fully dived into the NFT process just yet, but I know for myself, I want to make sure that I have a piece of that. So I want to put my books in as an NFT. I want to that intellectual property as an NFT, so that a way that can be out there. So I am talking to some authors. I'm talking to some other people about how to get those types of items as an NFT and get that out there. So I love it that you said experiential, because I believe that learning is experiential, but I teach something about the experiential learning model. And whenever you can tie that into learning, it becomes more powerful, because once again, it ties back into we all have our own experiences. And when you can share that, you can discover more from other people's experiences than you can from just standing there in front of a classroom or whatever, just teaching from a book. Experiences are powerful. So here's a section right here about most embarrassing moment. As entrepreneurs, here's the deal. Sometimes we get so focused on what we're doing that mistakes tend to happen. So tell me, what's the most embarrassing moment that you've ever had as an entrepreneur?
There's a couple that stand to mind. One was many years ago now, just before the global financial crisis. And there was murmurs about the global financial crisis, and I didn't listen. I was so focused on just launching a business that there was this voices that this financial crisis was going to happen, but I just didn't listen. So I launched a business, and it was basically a TV production company, and that was going to work with other TV production companies to secure TV deals. And I launched this business, and it was in the news. It was in the UK. It was very successful as a launch. And then in a matter of weeks, all the major TV stations in the world, and certainly in the UK, said that they were no longer going to take new TV shows. So I made my business like dead in the water. That's one of the example. I came up with the crazy idea. I wanted to own a TV station, so I invested money into owning a TV station in New Zealand when I was in the UK. No idea about TV whatsoever, so that fell flat. One more very quickly. Just last week, I'm focused on creating this brand new webinar. I've been kind of recording the webinar as evergreen content, and the system that I have here enables me to switch a button so that I focus on the screen, focus on the camera. It's a black magic box, and I was like passionately for 3 hours delivering this content and sharing the screen and all this kind of stuff, and I put my heart and soul into it. And then I look back at the recording, and I'd hit the wrong button, and so I wasn't sharing the screen. I was just sharing, just the video was just on me. And what was worse is that it was warm in my office. So I was recording this thing topless. And all I had with this camera was me topless, just doing all this kind of stuff. And it was just dead over. Thankfully, it wasn't live. But yeah, that was slightly embarrassing.
I've had a couple of moments like that right there, to where, there was no sound. I mean, I'm sitting here like,
yeah.
And there's no sound. I had, years ago, now this kind of shows you how far back I've gone as far as tech goes. Years ago, I used to actually hang out in like chat rooms. I've went that far to hang out in chat rooms to talk about business, and I'm in here and I'm just jumping on and I get straight on and start talking to people. Little did I know I'm in a deaf chat room, and everybody that was on camera was kind of sign languaging back and forth to each other. So I'm over here talking, trying to engage, interact, and everybody's just sign languaging. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm in the wrong room. Bye.
That's brilliant.
So, Mark, man, I've had a great conversation with you tonight, and I want to kind of get to the golden nugget. So I definitely want to thank you for sharing your valuable knowledge, your experience. I believe that you're a wealth of knowledge. And if you had one golden nugget that you could share with everybody out there, what would that be?
Look, when I hit the lowest point in my life and I literally attempted to take my own life, and I was in hospital the next day, and it was this profound realization that I'd lived life on planet Earth for 26 years, but I was living the life that everybody else wanted me to live. I hadn't really understood who I was or what I wanted to achieve in the world. And so there was this statement that came into my mind that I'll never forget, and I use it as a sort of mantra. And it is the fact that we live life once. As far as we know, we are on planet Earth once. So if that business that you have the idea for, launch it. It might not end up as the business that you think in your mind, but it will take you on an incredible journey. If you want to quit your job and launch a business, like do so with knowledge and wisdom around it. But we live life once. Like whatever your heart says, I've got to do this. Don't get to the end of your life and regret that you never did it.
You know, regret is definitely one thing that none of us want to live with, and I'm glad that you shared that. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. Thank you for sharing your experience. So tell me, what are you currently working on? What are your current projects at the moment, and how can people connect with more from you?
Sure. So the Facebook group that we have is We Build Tribes, as you say, 35,000 people from all over the world, coaches, consultants, experts, online business owners. So you can certainly head over to Facebook, We Build Tribes, join us there. I'm focused on, we have a service called Scale with Authority, and we build VAs and we train virtual assistants to help business owners to position themselves as an authority online and generate organic leads. So rather than having another course that you've got to go through, we've built a solid process with our virtual assistants that will do that for you. So we're really focused on, especially now, very quickly, I believe there's a gift of COVID, and that gift is that COVID smacked us across the face. It came out of nowhere. There's a heightened awareness around the world for people that want to improve their lives, to not do the 9 to 5, spend more time with the family, to lose weight. And those that I work with, coaches, consultants, experts, online business, there's a heightened awareness now for people to want to transform their lives. You don't have time to be busy with the business of trying to build a business. You need to be released into your specific skill, which is helping people to get those results. So that's why we're building teams around people to help them to scale with authority.
Absolutely amazing. Mark, brother, thank you for your time tonight. Man, I definitely learned a lot from you, and I hope that everybody else as well too. So if you want to get connected with Mark Bowness, make sure that you get connected with him. Just tap my name up above. You'll see his Instagram there. Follow him on Instagram. Make sure you follow him on Instagram. Make sure you get connected with them. We build tribes. I'm telling you, 35,000 people over there. You can ask questions, join in. He has programs. He's got challenges as well too. So I know there's challenges, and that's huge. You know, you got these challenges that are out there, and I know that yeah, I know that there's more to come. I know you got a lot more there. So get connected with Mark Bowness. Mark, thanks for joining me here tonight.
Thank you so much for having me, buddy, and have an amazing rest of your day. Take care.
All right, you too.